patriotic as I am, I will not let some European-ass tell me, an American, what to do. So I've kept the video up. We're keeping it up because I stand by what I said, and I'll say it again. European countries are not that different from each other.
Now, to my knowledge, that video has actually since been deleted. I just want to apologise straight away. I think there's like water in my microphone or something. It sounds extremely tinny. Okay, this is not what my voice normally sounds like on my mic, but it's a bit tinny and I can't do anything about it at the minute. So yeah, sorry, apologies. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about this whole drama with Jules, who is this TikToker who went viral quite recently.
Next, the French are as bad as everyone thinks. I want to make it clear, the French. Next is, I actually have no beef with Scotland or Ireland whatsoever. Yeah, when I talk about Europeans, I actually don't, I'm not referring to any, I believe in the liberation of Ireland, and I believe in Scotland. England is kind of my real issue.
She was basically trying to say that the whole of the United States is more culturally different than the whole of Europe, and that every country in Europe is the same as each other.
Countries in Europe do not have more differences than states in America.
If there's one rule I have learned being on social media and specifically on TikTok, is that the moment you notice somebody screaming, 99.999% of the time they are wrong. And this comes from an American living in Europe. The insanity of this entire video is just, oh my god, this is why Americans have such a terrible perception abroad. You are not making a good impression. Let me just put that out there.
So I did actually watch the original video. I remember watching it, getting really annoyed, and then forgetting to screen record it, and now wouldn't you just have it? It's now been disabled. But first and foremost, what I do just want to say is that I personally cannot stand it when we start to have these wars via TikTok, particularly between America v Europe, arguing about stuff like this, because I feel like it gets toxic real quickly. And it's such a shame because I feel like everyone can learn from each other, but everyone chooses not to because there's always people just being rude, and that this is what happens. So I do struggle with watching these kind of videos because a part of me is getting a bit annoyed because I'm like, hey, you're chatting crap basically, and then the other half of me is like, oh, I just know that she's trying to wind up, we should try and listen to their point of view. But it's really hard to listen to their point of view when they are trying so hard to obviously irritate you.
Countries in Europe do not have more differences than...
Yelling doesn't make you right. State your facts calmly, please.
And trust me, when I hear that, you know, Wales is a part of England, it boils my blood. It boils my blood. I'm just like, I'm not even from Wales. I'm actually from England. But even I could tell you that there's a different language up here. Like, culturally, it is different. Could you say it's quite similar if you're not from here? Yeah, sure, you could do. It's an effect. Just like this guy over here who was actually responding to Jules's video. It's like a boomerang effect. And it just makes everything so toxic.
Now, her point was that the United States of America was more culturally diverse than Europe is, right? And at first I thought, okay, sure. But let's take this, you know, left from right in Europe, right? So, like, first off, you have England. And I said England, not the UK. Wales. England and Wales are the same place. History days are gonna kick my ass. And then right to the right of that, you have worse England, or as some people like to call it, France. So that's two countries in Europe. And then after that, you have militarily incompetent, angry England, Germany. And then after that, you have completely incompetent, angry England, Russia. And let's be honest about this. Nobody gives a fuck what's going on in Europe. Because all the Europeans worth the shit moved over here, baby. USA! USA!
Okay, so Jules basically made a video where she was saying European countries have a problem with racism. And she pointed out in the Netherlands, which is apparently where she lived for about 10 years, although I'm pretty sure, this is what a lot of people are saying, maybe she's mentioned it before, but I'm pretty sure her family, like, she lived on military bases, which I've never been to one, but from my understanding of what other people are saying, they are vastly different. You know, if your family is within the military and you go and live on a military base, it's a lot different to actually living kind of within the community surrounding you. But I digress. I don't have any experience with it.
And in the Netherlands, they have something called Zwarte Piet. And every Christmas, Zwarte Piet, which translates to Black Pete, comes with Santa on a boat, because Santa comes on a boat in the Netherlands, and he is Santa's slave. And people dress up in blackface with wigs and big red lips and dress up as Santa's slave. Every Christmas. It happens every Christmas.
So from my very basic understanding, Zwarte Piet, I hope I'm pronouncing that okay, he was actually a helper who would help dish out either good or bad charcoal or candy, whatever's going on. I'm not from the Netherlands. This is just my basic understanding. It actually happens around the 5th, so not Christmas. And supposedly the black is supposed to mimic charcoal. Now, what I will say is that there's actually been a major pushback in the Netherlands for years, actually, I will say. Now, Zwarte Piet has, in a lot of places, just been completely abolished in the sense that people don't even want to celebrate him anymore like that. Of course, I'm not from the Netherlands, so I can't speak from literal experience, but I've just done a bit of reading and I've read quite a few articles on it, and there has been a mass, you know, change of the tide.
When have y'all ever been to Nashville? Have y'all ever been to Disney World? Have y'all ever been to New York City? Be real.
So after she made this video, she then started to go on basically a rampage in her next video where she was responding to a comment where she did the, you know, notorious line of "you guys are all the same. Every country in Europe is exactly the same," and trust me, it had a lot of people's backs up. People were not very happy about it, and I swear all weekend all I've been looking at is just stitches and stitches and stitches of just confused people from all corners of the world just being proper confused about what is she saying right now.
I thought that this was bait until she started bringing up countries. Countries that you picked out there are Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Germany. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, the first three share a lot of linguistic similarities. The Benelux is actually a region that has been around since 1944, a literal formal economic union. I myself have dated Belgians and I work together with Germans, and I live in the Netherlands. To an untrained eye, yes, these countries might seem similar. If you actually get into the nitty-gritty of it, they are so wildly different to each other. Unless you make friends who are from that place, you're very unlikely to actually see those differences.
As a French person, I can confidently say that we do not have the same culture as Romania, we do not have the same culture as Sweden, and even a country that's neighboring us, like Italy, we do not have the same culture as Italians. When I go visit Spain, when I go visit Germany, when I go visit Norway, I still don't feel like I'm in my country because it's a different country.
So I just woke up and apparently the UK is back in the EU. Was Brexit just a horrible dream?
Oh, and if you guys think that this gets any better, it gets worse. It gets a lot worse, actually. In fact, the second video, or the third video, whatever it was, is actually, to me, worse than the original video that got deleted.
Y'all in Europe are 7 shades of white and just different versions of Catholicism. Am I wrong?
So I'm going to do a hell of a lot more like stopping and chatting with this one, because I really do think that this video has done her more than no favors, and a lot of people are annoyed at her. Now, is she doing it for views? To be honest, I think she is, based on the fact that she has #funny and #comedy in her thing. But the one problem that this has is that it angers people on either side. And it creates a toxic wasteland of people just getting angry with each other, which she doesn't care. She's laughing all the way to, you know, the AdSense from TikTok, from the Creator Fund. She don't care. But it's caused a lot of toxicity. And now whenever I turn my TikTok on, all I see is people arguing on either side.
Okay. I know I look kind of busted, but like, what the hell can you do? We're gonna make this video once. I'm going to address the topic of the video I made about Europe once. Count on one time, and then we're not talking about it again.
I know that everyone has talked about this, but it's the yelling. It is the yelling. Like, why are we yelling right now? No one needs to be yelling like that in your own bathroom. Like, no one needs to be doing that.
Let me just give you a real quick background refresh. I made a video yesterday saying these are the things as an American who has also lived in Europe. Listen to that part. Lived in Europe for how many years? Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. There are things that I think Europeans need to know. And in that video, I said, acting like it's ridiculous that Americans can't point out random European countries when you can't point out random states is stupid, because it is.
What she's missing here is the fact that countries, there's actually states within countries. I'm pretty sure Germany has many different states in it. So by that logic, could you point out any of the various states in Germany? I would just like to absolutely point out right here, right now, that I am god awful at geography, where you are on a map. I don't know where anything is on a map, alright, but I'm not out here trying to convince everyone about things that aren't true. I'm also not out here denying the fact that there are not massive, you know, differences between the states, because I'd never say that. And I don't actually know anyone in real life that has ever made that statement ever.
Then someone in my TikTok comment section, it's where it always starts, always at the scene of a crime, said, well, it's different because European countries are countries, and each country has its own individual culture and political background and language and religion. And the video I made after that is the one we're addressing. And you know what? And here's the other thing, is that I've gone back and forth on keeping that video up. I've taken it down, I've put it back up 3 or 4 times. As unpatriotic as I am, I will not let some European-ass motherfuckers tell me, an American, what to do.
I would say that that is the epitome of being pretty patriotic, to then back it up with as an American. I would never dream of saying that to anyone else from any other country, ever. It wouldn't even cross my mind.
So I've kept the video up, we're keeping it up, because I stand by what I said and I'll say it again. European countries are not that different from each other. The video I made in response to that comment was me saying, listen, okay, let's say that it is true that every European country is fundamentally different, which they're not. Let's say every European country is fundamentally different.
Are you telling me right now that that Wales is the same as Bosnia? Is this what you're trying to tell me right now? Is Wales the same as Russia?
Then we could assume that every American state is fundamentally different. And everyone said, well, no, every European country is different. No, it's not. Girl, as someone who lived there for, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and has been to almost every country in Europe, I can say with great certainty that y'all are all the same. And this is the other thing, you're all a part of the EU. Do you know what we call that in America? The federal government.
So there's actually like 44 countries in Europe, and 23 of those countries, I think it's 23, are not a part of the European Union. And the United Kingdom, which is made up of England, Wales, Scotland, and then Northern Ireland, we Brexited it out. We went through Brexit, unless Brexit was just like some dystopian nightmare. Also, trying to compare European laws to federal government is just unbelievably stupid. I'm sorry. I mean, a lot of what she's saying is stupid. Pure stupidity, but it's fine. Don't worry. We can work our way through it. I mean, I would be a lot more lenient to listen to her if she stopped shouting and she stopped trying to insult people, but I just feel like she's doing it on purpose. But European laws, like, a lot of them is to do with like the free flow of people going from country to country. The taxes are lower, if not no tax, in between, you know, moving goods around. It's a lot easier, it's a lot cheaper to do so. And there's also like environmental laws. I know that we definitely had some European laws to do with our agriculture, things like that. But if you go to like Spain, they're not going to have the same laws as over here. It's not the same.
From Madrid to Prague, we're going to hit totally different parts of the world, right? So then wouldn't that be true if we traveled the same distance in America, that we would hit 2 different parts of the world? So why would you assume that every American state does not have its own culture, tradition, language, and politics? Because they do.
Literally nobody has said this. Nobody's assumed this. Nobody said that. You are comparing mass to mass at this point. You're just saying, hey, this is the same distance. But you're not thinking about it in the fact that, yes, if you went through the same distance in Europe, you'd be going through countries. Countries have different traditions, laws, cultures, languages, religion, But as we're about to find out in a minute, it just gets a little bit worse.
Everybody wants to be be like, oh, well, everyone in America speaks English. First of all, everyone in Europe speaks English, so calm the fuck down. And second of all, that's also not true. There's a reason English isn't America's national language. I'll say it again. There is not that big of a difference between every European country. Why? Because you're all a part of Europe. The way there is not that big of a difference between every province in Canada. Culture leaks, it spreads. That's the whole point. Y'all in Europe are 7 shades of white and just different versions of Catholicism. Am I wrong?
Can we maybe fundraise for this lady to have a one-way ticket to Turkey, please? And it's not just Turkey. There are other countries as well within Europe who the main religion is not Christianity. You literally throw up a statistic right here. 99% of Turkey, for instance, this is the reason why I'm using it as an example, is Muslim. If you went to areas like that and you said what you just said, it's not like, it just shows plain ignorance. And I can't believe that she lived this is what makes me believe the comments are right. Maybe she's addressed it before, and the fact that she literally lived in like military bases. I don't think she ever really got out. I don't think she ever really got to know anything. I reckon she was there when she was really, really young, and that's it. And she lived on military bases. Like, you couldn't have lived in Europe and have really experienced the culture and really had any decent of a life over here and still be making these kind of statements. And so that's the reason why I am just utterly convinced that she is just trying to troll people. And it's definitely worked, because like I just said, the whole of my For You page is just rife with people disagreeing.
I'll say it again.
And this is where I'm going to cut you off. There's a lot of diversity in Europe. You just weren't looking. There's a lot more to culture than just language, skin color, religion, and politics.
Anyway, I'm really sorry for making everyone's blood pressure just surge then if you managed to get to the end, but that's pretty much all I've got to share with you today. I'm so sorry about that. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.